Hey, usually we have an intro on this show, guys, but
Interesting.
I don't
Okay.
always come prepared. Welcome to the Nintendo Stuff
I
Podcast. My name is Brandon Miracle, broadcasting live from the Break Room Arcade. If you look south of me in the video version, you'll see the wonderful face of Paul Anderson, broadcasting live from the Break Room Clubhouse. If you look to the right of me in the video version, you'll see the wonderful face of Logan Welliver, broadcasting live from the Break Room Bedroom. But we have a challenger approaching today. We have a special guest, Yuki, in the bottom right corner there in the video version. Yuki, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Tell us what you do.
I am Yuki. I do animations on YouTube. I'm actually going to be doing a lot more as time progresses. I don't have a lot of stuff to show on my current channel, but yeah, I'm going to be doing a sort of animated review type of thing, and I react to stuff sometimes, so that's cool.
Yeah, if you want to follow Yuki and see some of the stuff he does, I got links to his Twitter and his YouTube channel, both in the description. And his Twitter handle's also right there on the screen. Hi to Conmen and Nintendo in the chat, our wonderful mods. So we got a lot to talk about today. Well, actually, really there wasn't a ton of Nintendo news this week. Actually, we really had to come together to find anything to talk about, as a matter of fact.
Other than the obvious, which we've already discussed to a great extent.
So if you live under a rock or if you're not a Smash fan, there was a Nintendo Direct on Wednesday detailing Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. This is the second presentation we've had for that game since it was announced. And it revealed a whole lot. You know what the three of us thought of that. But Yuki is new to the panel here, so we're going to go ahead and ask him what he thinks.
All right. Well, let's see. A lot happened. I did my own reaction for it, and I went kind of crazy. Simon, because I actually didn't see the leak that they had for Simon Belmont with the music whole situation.
Oh, so that was a lot more special for you than it was for us.
Yeah.
We were not so blessed.
I'm usually really good at following up with leaks and stuff like that, but that one just eluded me for some reason. And then when he got announced, I was like, okay, Virgin leak. That's what my mind went to first. And then when they announced Richter, I had no idea that was happening. I didn't know who he was.
Hey, welcome to the club.
Yeah. Fire Emblem?
Fire Emblem?
And we got ripped on that for like so hard. Yeah. Well, there was a few comments, but when there's
I saw
not so many
one
comments.
reaction on the internet who knew who Richter was, and that was D1, the wonderful Smash commentator.
Yeah.
Amazing. That's funny. Yeah, the only Castlevania game I've really played was Symphony of the Night. But hey, Alucard's an assist trophy, so I'm cool with that.
There you go.
What else? I knew Dark Samus was going to get in. Kind of had a gut feeling on that one. I was like, yes. And Crom left field. Had no idea that was happening. That was cool, though.
Yeah, he finally had his day.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. He finally had his day. What
He's
a guy.
easily the most unique of the Echo fighters.
I wonder if he's still going to... Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, like, he doesn't necessarily fit into what my understanding of an Echo fighter was, but it turns out that characters can echo multiple characters, and so we considered an Echo fighter.
Yeah.
I saw this chart on Reddit earlier, actually just like an hour ago, and it was the Marth to Ike chart, and it had Marth followed by Lucina, followed by Roy, followed by Crom, followed by Ike. So now you know the progression of Fire Emblem characters.
Right.
Yeah. I actually had no idea he was the echo of Marth, or Roy.
They didn't make that very clear in the Direct.
No. Originally, I thought he was an echo of Lucina, and then I was like, wait, that doesn't make any sense.
Well, thematically, I think that'd make more sense than Roy.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah, and then obviously at the end you had King K. Rool, which I was pretty positive he was getting in based on all of the polls that I've seen around the internet and things of that. He was like #1, so I was like, and plus the Sakurai tweeted out his eyes were red, and I was like, I see you.
Yeah, and if you like watch the actual Direct, his eyes really aren't that red.
No.
So, we all thought he was being serious, and then the people who thought he was conspiring were right. He did it.
He's always up to something.
Yeah. The purple and yellow chairs in the Direct, huh?
Hey, Waluigi, that's all we're saying. Overall this Direct blew any expectation I had out of the water. But We don't have Gino yet, and mark my words, we will get Gino.
Well, and I think that's a pretty good guess because obviously a lot of what we're getting now is a result of, you know, polls that were done in the past. And I looked at those polls and I actually saw another graphic from the founder of Source Gaming. I can't remember his name, but Source Gaming, he posted a wheel of the percentages that each of these characters like got. And so you can mark off like, okay, here are all the ones that are represented and here are the ones that left. And Gino's pretty high up there. So I think they could definitely swing that.
There's also the fact that Sakurai has been on record saying he wants Gino in Smash himself.
Yeah, also in 3DS and Wii U, he was the only Mii costume to get a splash screen saying that Gino is now a playable costume.
That's true. I didn't think about that. Conman in the chat saying Gino or Heihachi might be next. Those are the last Mii costumes that haven't shown up. Actually, you're forgetting the Monster Hunter.
You may forget the Monster Hunter. He's the most important of all of them.
Oh man, I'm pulling so hard for a Monster Hunter.
At this point, like, anything is possible.
Anything's possible.
After that initial like reveal of Ultimate, when he's like, "Well, don't expect a whole lot more," and then he comes out of the gate swinging with 5 characters in this direct.
And the Echo Fighters feel like so much more than just a clone.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Really?
I think that's why they're included. Like, obviously, I think that's why Lucina was included as an extra character, obviously, because there was enough of a difference with her to justify that they're just going to put her as a slot instead of a skin swap of sorts.
And plus, a lot of people loved Lucina back in the Wii U and 3DS days, so it was like to cater to more people.
Right. It was an easy way to kind of get that kind of representation into the game. And then who knew it would be a basis for, you know, getting more characters into the game. So
yeah, I'm totally down.
Speaking of characters, you mentioned Gino. Who do you really want in Smash?
Gino is my number one.
that's just it. He doesn't have any
Just
other.
Gino.
Well, okay. So for me, it was I had like a whole list of people I wanted, and I knew Gino was obviously gonna be at the top, but I had Shovel Knight somewhere on there, but then obviously deconfirmed. But seeing him in the game at all is a blessing. Paper Mario, I think, would be a very interesting and fun fighter.
Bless you, by the way.
Yeah,
He's on my list too.
especially like 1,000-year-old Dora kind of moveset. None of that color splash nonsense.
Can I have action commands in his moveset?
Yes, that would be sweet. And then I guess Shantae is another pretty big one on my list too.
Yeah, we were kind of thinking after seeing Shovel Knight get the assist trophy push that maybe if there's any indie representation at all, that I think the most logical explanation for that would be that Shantae got the spot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, she has a history with Nintendo, so it only makes sense.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So
We need one. Just one indie
Just
fighter.
one
Yeah.
indie, please.
That's all I'm asking for.
If you're disappointed about Shovel Knight not being in Smash, it's okay, because he just got announced as the last guest character for Rivals of Aether, a fantastic Smash-like game. So,
I heard about that.
There you go.
Platform
It is.
fighter.
I'm
Yes.
very upset Rivals of Aether isn't
Genre.
as talked about, because Rivals of Aether is a great piece of work.
Once they get that on Switch, I hope that turns around.
I think
If
it
they
will.
want it to succeed, they might need to get that on before Smash launches.
Yeah, just to play it just a little bit, and then when Smash comes out.
I mean, I've never played Rivals of Aether. Like, does it stand apart? You know, and that's the important.
It caters
thing,
more
right?
to the melee side of things, but it is very much its own game.
Okay.
And that's
It's really
why I love
good.
it. Lots of chat going on right now. Let's see. We're looking for some Rayman from Sandman. Intense No agrees. Torax also wanting Banjo. I think Banjo might happen.
If Microsoft gets a rep, I will say Banjo.
Well, I think it could happen. I know that Microsoft has been very open about wanting that to happen, you know, so they would totally allow it, which I think would be great. I think it'd be even cooler if we could get some Sony reps, but that's never going to happen. Yeah.
Conman makes an interesting point. He says Paper Mario would be the first character to emphasize footstool jumping off of people for damage. If it comes with a little number that says how much % you did, I'm totally in.
That would be awesome.
So anything else from the Smash Direct that stood out to you that you really liked?
Let's see. I like the idea of Final Smash Meter. I think that's cool. The morphing stages was interesting because I never would have thought of that.
Completely left field.
And then I guess the biggest thing was probably spirits, or what is it's said to be spirits is the new mode. That was.
Yeah, at this point, I think that's all but confirmed, since it got confirmed in 2 different languages.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking. And it makes sense going along with the theme that literally everybody's dying. Like, who is it? King K, not King K. Rool. DDD. Yeah, suffered blood force trauma from King K. Rool's slap. Like, he's dead.
About like a post-apocalyptic zombie game with like DDD in it, and him just getting like overwhelmed by like a bunch of zombies and just like
the first Nintendo zombie game. And
then he turns into the zombie, and then somebody gets DDD over the head with a bat.
Amazing.
Negan. They're gonna put Negan.
Yeah, like
in Smash, so he can do that to DDD.
For sure. Yeah.
I just watched that Game Explain analysis video for Simon and Richter Belmont, and they pointed out that stage that you fight Dracula on isn't even the Castlevania stage, and it looks very similar in being flat to the Rathalos stage. And you only ever see one person fighting in both cases.
Exactly.
So I think that's all but confirmed. So,
I'm ready for another Subspace. I mean, it doesn't have to be in-depth as Subspace. But
if it's got cool boss battles, I'm in.
A boss rush mode, please.
Yes.
Yeah, just give us more. Give us more.
Yeah, so we're greedy.
Again,
all the character reveal trailers we've gotten so far are just so full of personality. Like, I need another story full of cutscenes just like them.
Definitely.
I need it.
I'll never get over the fact that DDD was voiced by Sakurai himself.
I know.
The funny thing is that I forgot that. I've known that for a long time. Because I think he's always voiced King DDD. It just makes that whole cutscene even funnier when he's laughing at K. Rool fans, only to then give them K. Rool.
Yeah. That would be kind of crazy if he just didn't give K. Rool after that. Like, that was real.
That would have been legitimately upsetting for a lot of people.
Let's announce another K. Rool costume.
Another costume. Or an assist trophy. Oh my god, the internet would riot.
It's a costume again.
To kind of follow you up there, Paul, people are pointing out those purple and yellow chairs in that direct, which I don't think mean anything personally.
Nah.
But it would be funny if it was intentional and Sakurai was just poking fun at people.
I don't know if you got a chance to look at the tweet that I posted in the chat earlier, but it was someone compared the chairs to the fairies in Majora's Mask.
Oh yeah, Tattle and Tail.
Ooh, Skull Kid.
And then Skull Kid to the pillows on the couch behind him. And so if you really want, you can make it a reference to anything.
Yeah, exactly.
He was hinting at everything. Confirmed.
It was like back in the Wii U and 3DS days when Greninja was announced. People looked at the clouds. It looked nothing like Pac-Man.
Oh my gosh. I was like, come on, guys.
That was good. That was pretty good.
That said, the little hints that we've seen, like the chairs, if they're even a hint at all, the little pose that Donkey Kong is in his trailer evoking Karate Joe. That said, it's a very common joke in Japan, so it could be nothing at all. The plunger out of Luigi's Poltergust plus the rabbit ears, like rabbits. I mean, there's so much in there, and it's probably all nothing.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy.
Just to get everybody going crazy.
Yeah, Sakurai's just wanting to get people talking. I think he loves and lives for this stuff.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. If he has any time to.
I mean, it's no wonder that he came out and said that he wanted to continue making Smash Bros. Games, right? I mean, it must feel great. I mean, working as hard as he does and suffering through it. I mean, it seems like he's managing himself better for this development cycle. At least that's what I understand. Apparently, he's in great health. Awesome, fantastic. So if it doesn't kill him, like, yeah, if he wants to keep making Smash games, then he should keep making Smash games. But at the same time, like, I'm also like, maybe he should do something else. And then
if he wants to take a break to make another Kid Icarus,
that's what I was just about to say.
I'm okay with that. Or if he just wants to take a break,
he's at the point once Smash Ultimate comes out. If he does DLC, fine. But after that point, there doesn't need to be another Smash game until there's another system, and I don't see that happening for a long time.
Exactly, yeah.
And then also, you know, he's not going to be able to do this forever. There's a limit. You get old and you die, right?
Mhm.
And so
Wow, Logan,
he's
always
going to
cheerful.
need some. I'm sorry for the morbid reality.
Don't even talk about that man dying, okay? I'm offended right now.
But life ends, and he needs somebody who's gonna, you know, take the reign. Obviously, Miyamoto didn't do, you know, Zelda forever. I mean, he still works on the games, but in a more limited capacity.
That's even true for Aonuma these days.
Right. Yeah. And so I would like to see him do less of the things that he has normally done and kind of take a more, again, a producer role as opposed to a director role. And then also give us our next Kid Icarus game. So
please.
Kid Icarus on Switch, how good would that be?
Thank you. I've been asking for this forever.
It's good.
And here's what it needs to be. It needs to be an open world game, and you need to be able to climb everything.
Okay, so Breath of the Wild 2 with Kid Icarus.
I have to.
No, not Breath of the Wild, Kid Icarus.
I have to address Conmen in the chat. He said, did you guys hear about the Luigi's Mansion 3 hints in the Smash trailer? I was pointing out for days about his Poltergust, and nobody listened to me. And then Game Explain puts it in their video, and everybody listens. Come on!
I mean, Luigi's Mansion 3 would actually.
Well, we also don't have the clout that Game Explain has, so it's kind of like sometimes when we scream, it feels like we're screaming to like an echo chamber. Chamber. It won't be like that forever, and at least we got a few people.
So that franchise has been making itself known on the 3DS console family.
Exactly.
3 confirmed already.
Oh, there you go.
Conspiracy theories here on the Break Room.
Luigi's Mansion 3DS.
Just throw in Half-Life 3 while you're at it. I mean,
there we go. Switch exclusive.
I think Sakurai has found the fountain of youth, and I think it's making Smash Brothers games because that man hasn't aged a day.
No, he's lost 7 kilograms, by the way.
So he's getting younger, actually. So as this goes on, he's going to be.
I think
10 years old.
I think that's also partially just being Japanese. I think Asians in general just age better.
But I want to get on that Sakurai like workout plan.
Oh yeah, for real. So
unless the workout plan is him not eating.
Well, that's the question. Really, is this a healthy weight loss or is this?
He claims it is. I'm inclined to believe
let's assume that it's true, and bless you, Daddy Sakurai. Thank you.
So on top of that, all the Smash news, of course, we could talk for ages about that. But there's other Nintendo news here on the plate, so we'll move a little bit forward. Still talking a little bit about Smash. So the Donkey Kong Country designer that named King K. Rool wishes he had given him a better name now that he's in Super Smash Brothers. He came up with the name in like 5 minutes, is what he says. He tweeted this out on his Twitter, and I thought it was hysterical.
That's amazing.
I think King K. Rool is a great name.
Was he in a rush? Hey, do you have that antagonist done? Yeah.
He never thought that he would make his way out of Donkey Kong Country.
Yet here he is. He's also your next Mario Kart character.
Oh yeah, sure.
I love the name. So
yeah, I think it fits him. Like,
okay, so quick tangent. I was listening to a podcast where the guest on the podcast was Macaulay Culkin, and Macaulay Culkin was talking about art, and he was saying that once you release something to the public, it's no longer yours. And so I think video games are also in this category, other than the fact that you can update stuff and you want to fix things. But for certain aspects, like a character that you designed, like that's it. Like you've done it. It's out there. You don't necessarily get to like change it. Because I mean, what happened if for the next thing they're like, oh well, we didn't like the name King K. Rool, so we changed the name.
Hear me out.
You know, it wouldn't make any sense.
You put a game starring Diddy Kong years in the future, and then you have K. Rool's kid who has a better name.
There you go.
And the name of the game is
it.
Diddy Kong Racing 2.
Ooh.
Perfect.
And what's its name?
And yeah, the downside to this, and the reason why they haven't done it yet, is because at that point, Donkey Kong's just dead. But only because Logan loves him.
His name is He Just Drools. King K. Rool, and his son, he just drools.
Conman says he
He's
could have
like
called
a
King K. Rool King
brain.
Croc Daddy, and we would have still wanted him in Smash Bros.
Croc Daddy.
Can you imagine that splash screen? Croc Daddy.
Croc Daddy joins the fight.
Is it bad that I'm actually upset that that's not the official name now?
I mean, you can
Yeah,
call him that
I
if you
love
want.
that.
Or can you imagine the
I'm gonna
Smash Bros.
name
announcer
Croc Daddy.
goes, King Croc Daddy.
Anything with daddy in the name just is gonna sound funny. Let's be honest.
So, a little bit off topic, but related to Donkey Kong, Nintendo confirms that Retro Studios is still hiring new employees. This comes after all those rumors we heard that Retro Studios might be headed towards closure. So
I was really glad to hear this news.
yeah, so was I.
Yeah, so I mean, here's how I see it. Okay, once upon a time there was a company called THQ, and then
It's in the
it
game.
went under, and somebody bought them up, and they still called themselves THQ. And the important part is here is names matter. Okay, so if they can preserve the name Retro Studios, I think that's a good thing. Even if that means none of the other original people are there. I mean, you want to know how many people aren't working on Nintendo games that were working on Nintendo games in the 80s? You know? So the amount of people is going to change over time. The studio is going to change over time. So if they can make choices and hire employees that will make the studio run smoother and also maintain that same level of quality that we have come to love from Retro Studios, then by all means, keep the name, keep the studio. You don't have to close it. I think this can be fixed.
Well, that was the thing, is it was when it seemed like they were closing it down, I just wanted them to try and keep it open. Just keep going at it.
It was
We
an issue of
need our
management.
one Western studio. Yeah.
So
It was definitely management.
It definitely
Sounds
seems like Retro's headed in the right direction. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully all the changes that need to be made to management have been made, and that Retro's games will stop getting canceled. It seems like they've
Please.
gone through a couple projects recently that haven't made it out.
And hey, maybe that's why we didn't hear about the mythical Star Fox Grand Prix at E3. Maybe because the fate of that game is still up in the air, and
Could
so
Or it
they
was
don't
just
want to
titled
promise
Starlink.
anything to anybody that's not going to come. Because how disappointing would that be? Is if they revealed it and then they were like, "Yeah, this game isn't coming."
It could also
know?
just be the case of the game not being ready to show yet.
And that's
Yeah.
very true. It's not like they needed anything at E3.
Well, see, when I
other
was
than
at
Smash.
E3, and they announced or when I heard that's when the rumors were circulating about that Star
Right.
Fox game. Then they announced Star Fox was going to be in that other game,
Starlink.
something. What was,
Yep.
Starlink, yeah. I was like, is this the game they were talking about? And it wasn't. But funnily enough, everybody at E3 was making the joke, hey, they added that guy from Starlink in the Smash Brothers. And it was a good time.
Yeah,
It's pretty great.
Boruto's dad.
I'm
just
glad
that
they added him to Starlink. I'm actually interested in that game now.
That'll
So
be the
good.
thing that gets
I
me
didn't
excited.
pre-order the bundle with the R-Wing in it. I didn't do that. What are you talking about?
You didn't
I
either?
don't have that
Wow,
kind of-
crazy how that works.
I didn't pre-order that. You're joking.
What's a pre-order?
That's what everybody should be saying.
So moving on, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild has finally been given a placement in the official Legend of Zelda timeline. In all three of them. It's at
Yeah,
the
all
end
three of
of
them.
all three of them.
Sounds like a cop-out to me.
Well, I mean, but it is. I mean, but that's how these timelines work, right? I imagine they started making these games and they didn't. I mean, they probably, moved around all of these games in different ways and forms for forever until they were like, "Hey, this makes the most sense. Let's release it in the Hyrule Historia."
I personally have a different view on this. Before they released the official timeline back in 2012, it was just up to fan speculation. There was lots of discussions. Hey, where is this game in the timeline? Oh, Wind Waker comes after Ocarina of Time, or stuff like that.
right.
And they've they have essentially reset us back to that point where we can continue to discuss where Breath of the Wild is on the timeline and decide for ourselves.
Yeah, and maybe, who knows, maybe in 20, 30 years, they'll release a true updated timeline when they figured that out. Because they might not even know.
When the fans figure it out, and then they just agree to it. We just need the game that's just convergence of the timeline, so we can get away from the timeline.
Well, I mean, I guess that's what Breath of the Wild is. Unless that's literally just Nintendo. We don't know. But that makes sense. We'll just throw you a
This
bone.
story happened in all 3 timelines. Okay.
Who cares about the story? You explore.
Exactly. See, I was when the first timeline came out, I actually found out about it through a game theory video when he talked about it a long time ago, and I was like, Zelda has a timeline.
Oh boy, Paul and I used to have very long phone calls discussing where Legend of Zelda timelines were.
The important things, you know.
If only you had known, they would have released it a few years later.
Yeah, that was an exciting time.
Several years later, what?
Yeah, you're welcome, Brandon.
Thanks. You want to tell that story really quick? Might as well.
Yeah. So the Hyrule Historia was announced, and we were all very, very excited. And so I don't think I bought it myself. I think I asked for it for like my birthday or something like that. Regardless, I had got a copy of the Hyrule Historia, and when I opened the box that I got delivered in, there was 2 inside. And I gave the other one to Brandon.
Bless you.
What a guy.
Our birthdays are also just days apart, so it was kind of great.
Wow.
We cracked it open to the end and read the Skyward Sword prequel manga immediately.
And I can see it. I can see it in the background. I know exactly where it is on your shelf.
Yeah, it's right there.
Is it that thing shaped like Sonic?
It's under the thing shaped like Sonic. So yeah, I think that's fine. Like, I don't think I'm at a point where I need to know where Breath of the Wild is. I made up my mind where I in my headcanon Breath of the Wild takes place, and they've essentially put it where I thought it was, and they're just letting me believe it's there. It's
funny because the timeline is largely inconsequential.
Overall,
other than just like putting things in order.
Except for Skyward
Sword.
Sword.
Some of the games, like putting them in order, it's really easy because one, like, okay, Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time are obviously back to back, and all of these cell shaded games are connected. And then Skyward Sword is obviously the earliest game in the timeline so far.
Yeah. And that one tells a story very important to the rest of the series.
It would be very bold for Nintendo to go back and tell the story about the original Link, if there even is an original Link.
Yeah,
kind of cool.
We don't know for sure if that manga is the first Link or if it once again is a reincarnation. We know that it starts the reincarnation cycle, but now we're getting into timeline speak, and we need to move on. So, interesting tidbit. This was translated via Google Translate. I don't know if there's an official source or an official fix on this, but Pokemon Go, the developer Niantic has said that they are bringing PvP to the game this year. A feature they said they were bringing a long time ago.
Oh yeah.
So I think this is pretty interesting. I still play Pokemon Go. In fact, my wife and I were planning on going tomorrow for Community Day. It's Eevee's Community Day, so I only have 2 of the evolutions, and I need to get all the other ones. Oh, Logan, you look like you
broke
I guess
him.
I'm re-downloading Pokemon Go tonight.
So that's kind of cool, probably to coincide with the release of Pokemon Let's Go.
Yeah.
Would be my guess.
Yeah, Pokemon Let's Go. I'm pretty excited about it. Kind of. It looks too easy. But with that said, it'll hold me over till Smash Brothers gets announced a month later, or it gets.
Yeah, I mean, if that game doesn't at least last you a month.
Hopefully. But fun fact, I don't know how widespread the news was, but at E3, a lot of buggy things were happening with the Let's Go games. Like, they had to bring up the screen to fix stuff, like a debug screen, and it was all kinds of mess. You couldn't film any of it.
I mean, that's what happens when it's an unfinished game.
I think that's because Game Freak has been using the same code for Pokemon since Red and Blue.
Why not? Since I would probably say since probably Gold and Silver, because the Red and Blue battle system was extremely fragile code.
Iwata's the reason those games happened, or Gold and Silver. So he revamped it
himself.
But I remember they like ported, or actually no, it was Iwata himself who ported the code into Pokemon Stadium.
Pokemon Stadium.
What a guy!
I've listened to the Iwata Did You Know Gaming at least 7 times. It is one of my favorite YouTube videos of all time.
Like, if you like that, I guess random plug for another channel not associated with us. Gaming Historian also has a very good video on Iwata's life.
Ooh, cool.
What a dude! That guy did so much, and he was so important to what Nintendo is today. You could criticize his performance after the Wii, but like, man, he did so many good things for Nintendo. Earthbound?
Earthbound.
Quickly to note, in addition to that, there was a little bit more Pokemon news this week. They've officially confirmed that Mega Evolutions are coming to Pokemon Let's Go. This is not something I was personally expecting to happen, so to see it here is kind of cool. It's like this game really is just a big open door for new players to discover Pokemon, but also with some of the newer stuff just loosely attached to the end of it.
It reminds me of the Pokemon, it was Generations, the first one, the anime that was like 4 episodes long, and
or Origins.
Yeah,
Origins,
not Generations was the new one. Yeah, Origins, because that had like, it was mainly the first gen, but then it incorporated Mega Evolution at the end, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah. So I think that will attract a lot of new players to the Pokemon series, and I'm excited to kind of see how it grows. Can it really get any bigger than it already is? Because that'd be impressive.
Add more Pokemon.
In addition to that, a quick note, Nintendo spent more on TV ads than any other gaming industry company last month. This comes from Nintendo Life. I see
Switch.
I see ads for Switch all over the place these days. Like, it's a new world for Nintendo.
Yeah, that big summer campaign for the 3DS too.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Oh yeah.
it makes a lot of sense, just in general, especially in regards to the Switch, and how again they're trying to they hit that kind of like blue ocean that they hit with the Wii, and so again, like obviously their base right off the bat is all these hardcore gamers, but now families are picking up their Switches and they have multiple Switch families, and so it makes sense that, you know, you're going to put these on TV where parents are going to be able to see them, because I guarantee most parents aren't, you know, going to be on the internet. Maybe they're in front of the TV with their kids, but then even if they're on the internet, you get YouTube ads, you know. So it's all the same.
Yeah, actually, today I just saw, I don't know if you've ever heard or seen one of those game trucks, but the entire game, it's a truck that just has video games in it, and you can like reserve it for parties and just play games. And it was just filled with Nintendo Switch stuff, all the new games for Nintendo Switch. And I was like, wow, sweet.
That's my kind of party.
Though I'm not a huge fan of game trucks, just because I'm more inclined to just buy the system myself.
Right, but I mean, if it's like a party,
yeah, for kids, I can understand.
And you need a lot of equipment.
Break someone else's Switch.
Another quick note: Xenoblade developer Monolith Soft continues to expand. This comes from My Nintendo News. Monolith Soft just seems like it's getting closer and closer to Nintendo every day. You know, they help with the development of Breath of the Wild. We've got 3 Xenoblade Chronicles games across Nintendo systems, including a port to the 3DS. And Xenoblade Chronicles 2 also, you know, passing, was it 1 million sales? So they're on the up and up. They're releasing the Golden Country DLC next month, I think. So still releasing content. I'm really impressed with that team.
Man, I just don't have enough money for all these games. Xenoblade 2 is one of those games that I was looking at from a distance because I really enjoyed the first one, even though I never finished it. And so I would love to pick this up at some point, but there's so many games.
Yeah,
I you know, just paid like $70 for Spider-Man next month, and then I'm thinking about buying Red Dead in October. And
yes, please.
Too many games to buy.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat because wait, my mind just went blank. What did you just talk about?
Not enough money for games.
Xenoblade, right. Thank you. So I never played the first Xenoblade, and I have yet to play the second. But I did play Xenoblade Chronicles X, and I never beat it, but that was an amazing game. And I really want to play Xenoblade 2, just haven't had the chance yet. So it's on my
Definitely
radar.
pick that up. I don't know why you would do this, but you can buy the the DLC pass or the expansion without the game and just play that by itself. So
it's a standalone.
it's a standalone. Apparently, I guess it must be really big. I don't know. I'm expecting at least 20 hours out of that.
That's
That's
interesting.
what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna play the DLC, and
You don't need the game.
Who needs that?
who are these characters?
I only play DLC. No.
Coming from Nintendo Life, Amazon UK is inviting Switch owners to spend 1 penny for access to game demos.
The first question I asked myself when I read this headline is, who gets demos from Amazon anyway?
Yeah.
Did you know the new Smash Brothers demo is exclusively on Amazon for a penny?
I guess
That makes sense in that one context.
yeah, they're just like on their website for a penny. I see a 1 out of 5 star review for the Octopath Traveler demo, probably because it costs money.
Yet that was kind of a bad move on their part.
See, I would understand like if this money was going towards some kind of charity or if they were like doing a fundraiser, but that's weird.
Like, are you really gonna get that much off a penny?
I could see like if it's to recoup their costs in like the offering the code for a demo. I don't know. It really doesn't make sense.
What I don't get is, if there is a demo that can be sold, that means it's already on the Switch and you can just download it for free.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why? And I imagine that the only reason Penny is there is because you probably can't give away something on Amazon for free, right?
Ooh,
I mean,
be.
if
So
that's,
this is the closest thing to free, and it's a demo. So why is this? This just seems like the most confusing listing.
at that point,
Strange.
like,
It seems pointless.
maybe just don't offer demos.
Yeah,
Yeah.
If it's that much of a problem.
it's just weird. It's weird. Why are you being weird, Amazon?
You're personally attacking Amazon.
An interesting story coming from Nintendo enthusiast. Emu Paradise has removed its entire library of ROMs and ISOs after Nintendo's vicious attack on those 2 other piracy websites.
I heard about that today, and I'm kind of upset about it because I don't know. Like, say what you will about pirating, but I don't know. For the older games, I feel like since Nintendo's not making another virtual console anytime soon, it seems, let people play the old games and
Yeah.
Find
Also,
their love for
some like, okay, let's make an example of something like GameCube games. Okay, so if I can emulate any number of GameCube games, like, one, I'm getting to experience these games for one. 2, a lot of those games, especially the ones that are more highly acclaimed, they're much rarer, and that might be your only chance, especially if you want to like not spend like an ungodly amount of money on an older game. Like, I bought Super Smash Bros. Melee for like $43. I think something like Skies of Arcadia Legends gets into like the 60s, 70s. So some of these games get expensive. Not everybody can afford them, and there's not always enough. It's not like these are digital downloads. So I think it's a little bit silly. I understand it, but I wish they were not so tight with the reins on these sort of things.
Ignoring piracy altogether, I think the only thing to worry about is games preservation. That said, I'm pretty sure that there is a library of all of these ROMs and ISOs somewhere that they were
It's not
hosting.
like I can't imagine that they just deleted their archive.
No.
It's
still there somewhere.
They're probably still hosted
Really
on the server. It's just that users can't access that.
Yeah.
And then I do imagine that there's probably a few people out there who have downloaded a lot of these and are still on their computer, and they're like, well, we're going to keep these ROMs, And
I hope someone has Corey in the house.
I hope to see more people involved in this sort of work. Do we know if are there any YouTube channels that focus at least have an emphasis on this sort of thing, game
I'm sure.
preservation, not just gaming history. I'd love to see Norman start to kind of just like collect. I mean, I imagine that he's got some, and because he's definitely talked about ROMs that we don't have physical copies of the games anymore, but we have ROMs of them, and so these games have been preserved because of the digital copy.
How am I supposed to play all of the games on Virtual Boy without my ROMs? Like, am I supposed to go and buy a Virtual Boy?
Right.
I
Jack
think they would
Brothers is a
rather
fun
you
game.
forget the Virtual Boy altogether.
Hey man, Jack Brothers is a great game, and it's
Dude,
only
I can't
available-
forget those headaches. I can't forget those headaches.
Oh yeah,
good.
you got them firsthand, didn't you?
Yeah, I was a youngin. I was probably 12, 13 when I played it. And
Oh, actually,
there was definitely some depth, and it was a lot of black and red.
When are we going to get the
Headaches.
Virtual Boy Classic Edition?
please.
That's after the N64 Classic Edition,
Yes.
and the Game Boy Classic Edition, and the Neo Geo Classic Edition, and the
Neo Geo.
The Genesis Classic Edition.
Moving on, coming from Nintendo Life, Koro Koro Magazine. Oh no, we talked about that. Mega Evolutions. Moving on. From My Nintendo News, The World Ends With You Final Remix is coming to Nintendo Switch October 12th. That will have expanded endgame content for those of you who played the original, as well as a remix soundtrack. And for someone like me who's never played it before, I will be picking that up. Maybe not right away, but I will definitely be getting that game.
Yeah, I might check it out. I played it for like 5 minutes on the phone one time. It's alright.
A bit more important, though, is that Nintendo Switch Online service is launching in the second half of September, so we have a date range now.
a little over a month.
They still haven't announced the other 10 NES games that will be there at launch. We still don't know what those are. I'm anticipating...
Direct, please.
Exactly. I'm anticipating a Nintendo Direct towards the end of the month or the beginning of next month.
And then they'll announce Gino for Smash.
They're going to announce Monster Hunter for Smash, actually.
They're going to announce
We have different
Goku for
priorities. Agree to
Smash. Because
disagree.
we all know Goku's the next character to come to Smash Bros.
Don't be ridiculous.
Monster
It's
Hunter-
obviously Corey in the house.
Monster
He's totally
Hunter...
a video game character.
My favorite anime.
Look, Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate comes out at the end of August. It's a good tie-in, and I'm not totally biased about this. You're wrong. I'm not
I
biased at all.
personally don't think Monster Hunter is going to go. That's just me.
Excuse me.
I feel like
Yeah.
Monster Hunter has a better
trying to
chance
break
than
our hearts.
Gino.
If Rathalos is a boss in the game, it'd be weird to not have, any other
Yes.
representation. At the very least, another me costume like
Well,
last time.
let's see. Rathalos is already a boss and this, so a playable character.
What? You cut out.
Oh, sorry. If
We don't like
Rathalos-
Monster Hunter.
If Rathalos is a boss and a assist trophy, who's to say he's not also a playable fighter?
Hey, I'd be into that.
He's too big.
He's too big.
Too big.
We're not starting that conversation again.
Unless the chat speaks up.
Yeah.
Turn the chat on Brandon.
No.
Hey, chat, do you want Monster Hunter as a playable character in Smash? Let us know.
Why not both no fighting, says Dream Drop. That's the world I would like to live in. Another piece of news from Nintendo Life, a hidden VR settings menu has been found on Nintendo Switch and is accessible.
VR.
We know Nintendo has been experimenting with VR. We know that they're not currently in a position where they want to do anything with it right yet.
Yeah.
So I don't
Virtual
think
Boy.
this means
Especially
anything.
not with the current version of the Switch. Like, there's no way that the power of the Switch or the resolution of the Switch could handle any significant VR experience at this point. Down the
Your
line,
headset comes with a
definitely.
battery pack so that you can last for longer than 20 minutes.
And it looks like the Virtual Boy.
It's not going to hold a candle to my HTC Vive. However, the idea of playing Nintendo-developed games in VR is what's exciting to me. Because right now, VR is in a place where the games are not that great, personally.
Yeah, and I'd
Metroid
argue,
Prime 4 VR.
Please.
That's why we haven't seen gameplay of it.
yeah, and so I would go ahead and say that the most important thing to take away from this is, one, somebody is reiterating that Nintendo is definitely looking into VR. And so by time that VR comes around for Nintendo, they've already experimented with it enough where they're going to have really cool applications. And so I think we'll be discovering VR for a long time, and especially as the technology develops, because obviously there's things like controller inputs and that can all be improved upon. And so we're still discovering this space. And if there's anybody who's going to do it right, it's Nintendo.
They're not going to release anything until they think it's a compelling piece of software.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's the same for like someone like a company like Valve, which they don't release games often.
Yeah, no, exactly. You know, you take pride in your work. You make sure you release something that's complete and compelling. I'm sure Miyamoto is directly involved with VR development because, you know, he's the idea guy. He's the innovator. It seems like his wheelhouse.
That's a big testament to Nintendo as a whole anyway, because they're like the only company nowadays that like don't put out a game unless it's a complete product and then add DLC later as an afterthought, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And some third-party news coming from Nintendo enthusiasts, Sega reconfirms their plans to revive existing game franchises.
Skies of Arcadia!
Yeah!
Skies of Arcadia! Skies of Arcadia!
Skies of Arcadia was an amazing game.
Arcadia. Please give us at least an HD remake, because nobody knows how to like. Okay, one, that game came out on the Dreamcast, and then it was released with all the DLC on the GameCube. Nobody's played that game.
I played it.
Nobody's gotten the chance. Well, yes.
50% of the group here has played it.
It's a great game.
You know, when you're not here, it's only 33.3 repeating percent. So, I mean, it's not.
You haven't asked the chat, so do you really know that for sure? I question your stats, Logan.
At the very least, just a simple HD remake, touch up some textures, make everything look a lot prettier, release it on Switch, release it on all the consoles, release it on PC, get people to play that game. It's fantastic.
And then Crazy Taxi HD, so...
Yeah, I mean, we know they're launching their Sega Ages line digitally on Nintendo Switch, and I'm assuming other platforms. So it's not like they've completely abandoned all these games. I think they're at a place where they're realizing what works after the resounding success of Sonic Mania.
Yes.
I think they're pointed in the right direction now. And I really believe that, and I usually don't when it comes to Sega.
Okay, and one more thing about this. I really hope that they kill Phantasy Star Online forever. So
why? I like Phantasy Star Online.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's good. I've lost many hours to that game.
No, it's so bad. I've watched.
Yeah,
play it
we
before.
should kick Logan out of the break room arcade. I do agree.
No, before you kick me out, I'll just leave.
I mean,
I really wish you would have fallen out of your chair.
Never had the opportunity to play it on the Dreamcast. I am a young guy. But I did play it on its new revived server online on the PC. So.
Are you calling me old? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, we're not old.
We are old.
How old do you think I am?
Younger than us.
Thanks. I mean, I kind of gave that away.
If you want the internet to know, you can say, but otherwise we'll move on.
I'm 19.
Okay,
Good.
Not that much younger.
Okay.
Bandai Namco wants to continue providing more games for Switch. This just kind of falls in line with, you know, what we've been hearing from all kinds of developers lately. And Bandai Namco has been a great supporter of Nintendo Switch so far. We've got Taiko no Tatsujin, a game that I adore. My Hero 1's Justice is coming to the system. Dragon Ball FighterZ is releasing on the system as well. Open beta for that just happened. So yeah.
Storm games.
Oh yeah, the Storm games too.
Wait, the Storm games are coming?
They're on it already.
I did not know that.
They released a trilogy.
1, 2, 3.
Well, I'm gonna have to take some money.
Excuse me while I go to the eShop.
Yeah.
And we can't forget the ton of support they've given Sakurai and his team in the development of Super Smash Bros. 4, as well as Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Save the MVPs.
For real.
A great team.
They're like, no, seriously, that's one of my favorite companies recently, just because they also, as I mentioned before, they gave me a VIP pass into their influencer room at E3.
Ooh.
And they had free coffee, and I met a lot of Funimation voice actors and actresses, and it was a good time.
That sounds like a great time. I think they did that with Roger too during
Yeah,
Evo.
they gave Roger. Oh yeah, Evil. Yeah, that's right. He did say that. He was also in the influencer room at E3, which is how I met him. Great guy.
We love you, Roger. When are you going to be back on the show? We've been trying to plan this episode for forever. That said, further third-party news, Octopath Traveler has officially sold 1 million units, which is great for that game.
Amazing. I need it. I need it right now. I don't have it yet, but I need it.
And this has been such a success for them that they are planning more Switch games to come in the future. Similar Switch games.
I really hope they follow that beautiful pixel art trend, because me, as an animator, I love pixel animation a lot. I can't do it at all, but pixel art and pixel animation is some of the most beautiful things in art, and it's been dying out, I feel. But with things like Octopath Traveler and Shovel Knight, I think it can make a sick return.
Yeah, for sure. It should also be noted quickly here that they teased Bravely Default 3 for Nintendo Switch right around the mentioning of this.
When did they do that?
They did that on their Twitter, if I'm not mistaken. They had
amazing.
It
was early in the week, I want to say.
Yeah,
that's pretty brave of them.
Default is probably one of my favorite JRPGs of recent memory. It's amazing. I've played through Bravely Default and Bravely Second, and it's a great time.
Fantastic. And I hope that maybe an HD collection for Switch would be kind of nice too.
I would be amazed with that.
Going back to Bandai Namco really quickly, Taiko no Tatsujin will receive a full physical release in Europe, including the drum accessory.
I'm not upset.
I'm a little upset. That said, I already have the game, but I'm upset because it's been a long time since.
For me, because I wanted to get it, and this just makes it harder.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, like, it's been a long time since Taiko has been out in the West. If they don't give us the full experience in the West, I don't think it's going to catch on in the way that would make the game important.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hopefully with the announcement that, it's coming to Europe, that there will be demand for a physical controller in the US. Obviously, you've
at the very
bought
least
some, Brandon. You don't want to have to necessarily import them because that just costs extra money, right? It'd be nice just to be able to go to a Walmart or a specialized game store and pick one up or something like that.
Yeah, so, not for $100 on PlayAsia.
Yeah. So if I'm guessing
that never comes.
I guess it just comes down to if you're a big fan of Taiko, and that
or a theoretical fan like me,
or a theoretical fan, make some noise. Make some noise. Let Bandai Namco know, and maybe nothing will happen.
I'll tweet them.
Maybe
if the Space Jam main theme isn't in there, I'm not buying it.
Question: what is this game?
Taiko no Tatsujin is a taiko drum simulator rhythm game made by Bandai Namco. It's been around since 2001, I want to say, and has had 15 releases in Japan. One release here back in 2004 under the name Taiko Drum Master. Features a lot of anime music, Japanese music, and
it might be really good.
It's really good. There's two inputs. You hit the face of the drum or you hit the edge of the drum. That's it. Really simple, and they make a very compelling game out of that.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, got videos on the channel for those of you in the chat who've never heard of Taiko, so I give you a little demonstration of that if you're interested.
I'm interested.
Moving on, we've got a little bit of discussion from Panic Button saying that their impossible game to bring to Nintendo Switch, this comes from My Nintendo News, by the way, would be Horizon Zero Dawn. And that doesn't surprise me in the littlest bit.
Yeah. It's not surprising, but it is a little upsetting, because Horizon is a great game.
Yeah, Horizon is one of my favorite games of last year that I played this year. So if you have a PS4 and you haven't played Horizon Zero Dawn yet, you're doing it wrong, actually.
Okay.
Hey, calm down. Calm down.
Hey,
I still need to get it. I want
I just need to play it. It's been sitting on my shelf for a long time, and it's been bugging me.
Yeah, you have less of an excuse than I do.
Just do it at some point. You won't regret it.
Yeah, it's good.
I liked my first 7 hours in the game.
Really quick, see, not even Yuki knows what it was. Brandon truly is the only player in the West. It's just
I'll
me.
be the second player.
Tycho, or yeah, Paul will be the second Tycho player. Try it
We're
out.
taking
There's a
over.
demo.
Tycho. Let's see Tycho at Evo 2019.
I would be there.
Not even a fighting game.
I
but
would.
It's gonna be
I would do a. I would commentate for that. I'd be a caster.
Yeah.
I think there's a great future for me being a taiko drum competitive caster.
How amazing would that be if they did a Nintendo Direct and at the very end they give you the Smash like thing where it opens up, but instead of a Smash Brothers trailer, it's for a new Taiko game.
I'd be in. I also want Donchan and Smash in some capacity. I don't care what.
Assist trophy.
Yeah, I'd be
And
into
then
that.
that drum controller
Or
support.
just a trophy,
You know,
which shockingly we haven't seen any of yet. I'm surprised.
Chef
No
Kawasaki in the assist trophy in Smash Ultimate takes over Kirby's old Final Smash.
See,
Donkey Kong had his Final Smash changed from the bongos. So there could be a Donchan assist trophy where he plays Taiko instead and does the same thing. Just throwing it out there, Sakurai, if you're listening.
or could just be Funky
Yes.
Kong playing the drums.
Sakurai's gonna listen to this.
Funky Moan confirmed.
Our next guest, Sakurai.
The last piece of news for this week just came to light today is that Doom Eternal will be launching on Nintendo Switch
This is
alongside the
important.
platforms.
This is so important.
Very important.
Because all the games that we've gotten from the big third-party studios, specifically from Bethesda, have come after the fact, which is okay because we still got them. But I think this will really communicate just how well these games can do on the Switch, because all of a sudden there's not that price parity. Because when we got all these ports, they were full price ports where the games that on the same game on other systems, had already gotten massive price cuts. So this is important.
There's no official confirmation that will launch at the same time, but they also didn't say it wouldn't launch at the same time. So that said,
Boom.
it's good that they gave us the confirmation
Boom.
right out of the gate. They did the same thing with Wolfenstein 2, or was that announced like shortly after the fact? I know there wasn't a long time between
I don't know.
announcement and Switch. But that said, Doom, the original 2016 reboot, is on Nintendo Switch. If you haven't played
Yeah.
it yet, that's a great way to play that game. I would highly recommend it. Nintendo in the chat would also very highly recommend it.
Yeah. And I think this is just another great example of the fact that so many people started going off about like, oh, well, the game looks too good to port or something like that, or maybe it's too comprehensive or nobody wants it. But people want these games, and they also don't care that it comes at a cost of visual fidelity as long as they can get it on their Switch, right? There's that trade-off, and people don't care.
Yeah, the
For
ability to
example,
just-
like Panic Button also ported Rocket League. Rocket League runs great on my Switch, and I would much rather play it on my Switch than on my PC because Rocket League is objectively better with a controller as opposed to a mouse and keyboard.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, just the ability to take any game on the go is just having that ability is super, unique and amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
like that's why Sakurai made Smash for 3DS. Like that speaks volumes.
Yeah, there was demand for that in handheld, and there were a lot of naysayers saying that we don't want console-like games on handheld, and the Vita may have been proof of that. But times are changing. People have less and less time to play games. You look at us for a week and a half, we didn't have any games to talk about at the end of our show.
Yeah, and also we're at a time where the original gamers are now old, right?
Yeah.
So it's like they're older adults, and again, they are busier, and so it makes sense. That's why one of the reasons why the Switch is doing so well.
Well, bringing up games, we've been playing them, at least a couple of us.
Yeah.
So I've got several to talk about. I'm going to kind of fly through these. A lot of them are demos, actually. Flat Heroes is a demo on the eShop. I actually got the idea to try that out from our friend Conmen in the chat below. I saw him tweet about it. Looked cool, so I gave it a shot. Essentially, you're playing as a square, and this game is multiplayer, by the way.
Okay.
And you're inside of a square arena, and these little bullets will shoot at you, and you have to dodge all of them, and that's the level. Once you've complete completely dodged every bullet in the level, you win. But you can jump, you can double jump, you can wall jump, and the movement is really fast and fluid, so it feels really good to play. Seems like a great game to me. It's not that expensive, and I might actually end up buying it. I had a lot of fun. Demo's also pretty long, so give it a shot. In addition to that, I finally played the demo for Yoku's Island Express. I've had my eye on this game for a long time, and this game is just delightful. If you have not tried it, it's so cute, so charming, beautiful, painterly-like art style. You play as this little bug and his little pinball. All the platforming is through pinball, by the way, so, you know.
Oh, I love pinball games.
You've got your 2 flippers, and you enter these segments, which are essentially just big pinball boards with some light puzzle solving elements. So there's blocks to break and paths to find, things to collect. It's a cute little platformer. I think it's $20 on the Switch. If you haven't tried it, give it a go, because I think you'll really like it. Also, the physical attack, the melee attack, is him blowing a noisemaker, like a party noisemaker. It's adorable.
Amazing.
So, just try it. Trust me. In addition to that, I talked about this a little bit earlier. I played a little bit more Taiko. The English patch for that game is currently available if you imported it from Japan, like I did. The translation's great, and it's made my experience that much better. So, the nice thing too is when I launched it from my Nintendo Switch user account, my main one, it automatically switched the language options to English without me doing anything.
Hey.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
Yay.
So good stuff on you, Bandai Namco. Conman says, I reached out to the Flat Heroes team and got a review copy for PC. I'm loving it. If you like rage platformers like Super Meat Boy Celeste or N++, you'll love it. So there you go. In addition to that, I also tried out the demo for Valkyria Chronicles 4, a game that I didn't even know was close to being out yet. And I've never played Valkyria Chronicles before, despite it having been in my Steam library for a long time.
I like the gameplay of the Valkyria Chronicles games, and sadly, I have not played nearly enough. So,
for those of you who don't know, it's a military-based RPG/simulator where you control individual units. You get a little bit of movement AP. You have to move them on the map in 3D, line up your shots, get the shot, and then do that for as many characters as you can move, and then the enemies take their turn. So it's a little bit like Fire Emblem too.
So very turn-based strategy.
Yeah.
And it's very good.
Codename Steam was essentially the same idea on a smaller scale. So if you liked Codename Steam at all, you'll probably like Valkyria Chronicles. Anime art style, anime storytelling, so also voice acted. So that's also an interesting thing to note.
I think I want to say in one of these games, fun fact, one of these games there was Vise from Skies of Arcadia. I can't remember if he was like a DLC character or something like that, but I remember seeing that he was included in that, so they haven't completely forgotten about it. This is also a Sega property, if everybody didn't know that.
Demo is currently on the eShop. If you're interested in trying that out, go ahead and download it. One of the games I bought this week was Okami HD.
Hey.
I've never played Okami, but I've been told time and time again to play Okami, and when I saw it was announced for Switch, I knew it was my time. It's also only $20. Great deal.
Yeah, that's a great price. I was expecting something like 40. I don't know why, but I probably will pick up Okami at some point because it's like the best Zelda game that's not a Zelda game. That's what I've heard, at least.
That's how Josiah described it to me when I asked him. He said it's the best Zelda game I've ever played.
I've played a little bit of it on the PS2, and it's amazing. It has an amazing art style. I love the folklore aspect of it. It's beautiful. Highly recommend it. I'm definitely going to get the HD at some point.
The motion controls from the Wii version are also in the game using the Joy-Cons, if that's something you're into. So this might... you could almost consider this the definitive version, because there's more ways to play.
Can you use the touchscreen?
I haven't tried that. That's a good question.
Because, I mean, I was pretty sure there was one of these versions that had touchscreen controls. I might be wrong.
There's a sequel on DS called Okami Day.
Yeah.
And use the touchscreen in that. That's a good question. I should have... I didn't even consider, trying that out.
Yeah, more options. I like when games are like, we don't need this, but it's here anyway.
If you haven't played Okami and you like The Legend of Zelda, I'm 3 hours deep, and I can already tell you, yeah, this is a Zelda game, and it's really good. So give it a try. The beginning is incredibly long. There is a lot of storytelling. I didn't get to play for half an hour at least. So,
Amaterasu for Smash Brothers.
So just know that going in. Yeah, I'd be into that. Another Capcom rep. And then one other thing that I haven't played yet, but the three of us will be playing after the show, 11 p.m. Central Time. We are streaming Overcooked 2.
Overcooked 2, join us for the stream.
I'm a huge fan of the first Overcooked game, so I'm very excited that the game now has online and we'll be able to play together. I'm expecting a lot of yelling.
I downloaded this game like at work before I left, and I was able to play the very first like tutorial level, which is like all the mechanics I already know, right? But you have to get it out of the way. And that's how much Overcooked 2 I've played. So I can't wait to play some more.
I played Overcooked 2 at a party, and there was a lot of screaming and yelling, and it was a good time.
Paul, you were saying?
Oh, I played one level past the tutorial, and then I called it good.
Oh, so you think you're better than me, don't you?
I don't think. I know.
Oh, boy!
Paul, have you played any of the original Overcooked?
No, that's why I played one level beyond the tutorial, just to make sure I had it down.
It's not fun playing single player.
It's not a great game single player, by the way.
Yeah.
Don't let that, don't let that change your mind about what the game is.
Don't worry, I'm prepared to bring my shouting voice.
Yeah. playing single player is just playing two player without a second player. And that's like, it's objectively worse, because then you have to go back and forth between two avatars.
And then you just, you scream at yourself.
It's like, I'd rather just have one. I could get things done faster.
Sorry, John. We play late because we podcast late. That's just the way it is. But the VOD will stay up, so you can watch it later if you want. Conman says, if someone says they like Overcooked, I just hear, I love to be mad, stressed, and lose my friends. That's why we play Mario Party.
I was about to say the same thing with Mario Party, Kart, Super Smash Bros. That's
what happens when I play the Cuphead co-op.
Oh, yeah. Especially when you get stuck on the same level for a while and you and your friend, just like, all your life is gone. You're like, am I bad at video games?
But then it becomes a choreographed dance where you're both killing. That's good.
Well, Logan, you already talked about Rocket League.
Yeah, I did.
So, Yuki, we're throwing it your corner. What did you play this week?
Hey, I've been playing God of War for the PS4.
Yes! They just announced the new Game Plus.
It's amazing. Highly recommend. I'm still kind of like not too super far into it. Maybe like, I don't know, 12 hours in.
Well, let me spoil everything for you. Just
please do not.
Please don't.
Yeah, it's great. Other than that, I have been practicing my skill in Smash Brothers for 3DS, anticipating the new game. I've made a list of games I'm going to play after I beat God of War, because I have very little time to actually play video games. But those games are just going to be, I'm going to replay through Resident Evil 4 for the PS4.
Great game.
Play and try to beat Dark Souls 3, because I have never played that game, and it looks amazing. So I really want to try it out. And then I guess the last game is I'm going to replay through The Last of Us on the hardest difficulty, because I've never done that either. So.
Also a great game.
Yeah.
All right. That pretty much brings us to the end of our show. But before we go, Yuki, why don't you go ahead and tell us again where people can find you?
Y'all can find me at Yukiola5 on Twitter, or Yuki, the YouTube channel. Kind of hard to find, so I just say click the link if there's a link. Yes.
Links in the description.
Yes.
Other things that we should mention before we go. I'm going to start teasing this consistently as a meme now instead of like a legitimate tease. We're going to have a stream with Roger's Base where we discuss everything that we love about Shokugeki no Soma. I'm just teasing. He's been busy, but he promises he'll get on the show as soon as he has time. So that'll be happening September 3rd, the Breakdown Podcast, we have a special guest. We have Sean Chiplock, the voice of Revali, Tiba, and the Great Deku Tree from The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild will be on the show. Very excited to talk to him. It's been a long time since we've gotten to hang out with him, so that'll be an interesting time for us. Logan, you actually are bringing a guest on next week.
Yes, I have an acquaintance from the Springfield area. His name is Devin, and he will be on the Breakdown Podcast on Monday, August 20th. So not this coming Breakdown, but the next one. He is a game developer, pretty small, but he's got some projects he's working on and some organizations that he's been just trying to connect with a lot of people. And I think what he's doing is really cool. He's also just a real off the wall individual, and I think that's great. And so, yeah, I can't wait to have that conversation as well.
So, yeah, lots of guests coming on the shows in the coming weeks. Logan, you were working on a video earlier today. Do you want to tease that really quick?
Oh, yeah. So I'm hoping to get this done tomorrow. I said I was going to get it done tonight, but I also I wasn't anticipating how much time I was going to be spending streaming. But I didn't know that I wanted Red Dead Redemption 2. And you guys, that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. There's going to be a video. You're going to see it. I worked really hard on it. And I still got a lot of hard work to do on it. And it's going to be good.
I've done this once before, but Conmen, I'm formally asking you on the show right now. We'll set a date later, but we've been actually meaning to ask you for a long time. So that said, we'll have you on the show maybe in a couple weeks here. So lots of cool stuff going on the show here. If you watched last week, I uploaded my first episode of Hyrule Diaries, a series where I'm playing through the Breath of the Wild master mode with every intention but the story. So just living my life and trying to make a good living for myself. That's the story of Hyrule Diaries. Second episode going up next week. Very excited to share that with you guys. Sandman quickly says, Red Dead Redemption 2 looks so clean. Yes, it does.
Let's not forget about the biggest piece of news that has ever happened is that the HD version of Mario Kart Wii has just reached China for the NVIDIA Shield.
And it will have online play.
And it will have online play. So let's not forget about the most important piece of news.
That's so silly.
So with all of that in mind, guys, thank you so much for watching the show. Go follow Yuki. Go get on his channel. Show him some love. Yuki, thank you so much for being on the show. It's been a pleasure having you here.
It was an honor to come aboard.
Oh, well, you melt in my heart there. And I want to point out, was it Ran, R-A-N-S in the chat? He says, I love you guys in all caps. We love you too. Thanks for checking us out. If you want to talk to us, you can hit us up on our Twitters. I'm at BabbitBabs. Logan's at LoggyDevs. Paul at Gunnysaurus. Yuki at Yukiola5. Did I do that right?
You did, yeah.
If you want to follow us as a collective, you can follow us at Breakroom Arcade on Twitter. If you want to hang out with us even more, you can get into our Discord server. Link to that in the description. You can talk to us pretty much all the time. We're in there a lot.
Discord.
If you really like what we do here on the show, you can go click our Patreon link in the description below. For as little as $1 a month, we'd really appreciate it. So thank you so much, guys. With all that in mind, we'll see you at the beginning of next week on Monday, and tonight after the stream to stream Overcooked 2. Wow, Logan, I am like so razor focused right now, trying to like get through this end speech.
He's trying to just kill your focus.
He really is. So with that, all that in mind, guys, we'll see you next time. Don't break your backs. Breaking the games, but for now, break time's over.